Okay.
Okay.
On my side,
And
it looked the same every time you've done it.
okay. All right. So there must be something going on with my Instagram. That's fine. Okay, whatever. So um if you're joining and Ash, you're live, right?
I'm live, yeah.
Okay. So if you are joining and you I guess they would be already be on
Do
your
you
live.
want to post on your story, like, go to
Yeah.
my account right now, and they can
Yes,
watch it
yes,
there?
yes. I like that idea. Okay. All right. So let's do that. Thank you everybody for joining. We are just having some technical difficulties again. Um you know how we do. I'm going to post on my story. Hey everybody, we are going live with Meg Thompson and A is for Ashlyn right now. My live is not working for some reason, so if you want to watch this, please go to A is for Ashlyn's site and click her live, and we are live there. Yeah. Bye, everyone. Okay, sweet.
All right, is it time to officially put the sign down?
Yes, yes, let's
All
start.
right, let's do this.
Oh my gosh. All right. So let's
I
do
wanted you to hold
intros.
it the whole time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, come next
Sure.
to the other side. Say live is in action right now. Live
in
is
progress.
live.
Yes. Well, I feel like if we're not flexible and easygoing and forgiving, then we probably shouldn't work with children. I don't know.
No, yeah. Yeah.
Or people, or anybody that
Right,
deserves other
right.
people to be
Or leave our house.
flexible and forgiving.
I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Mm. Okay, so I am Brittany. I am founder of Teaching to a Riot.
And I'm Ashlyn. I am founder of A is for Ashlyn, The Village, and the Made for Middle School curriculum.
And I'm Meg, and I am the founder of, I don't know if that's a thing, Meg Thompson Behavior. I don't.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I own my own business, so I guess I'm the. Well, we're all the things. So you're the CEO, the founder, the CFO, the CEO,
The
Yeah.
marketing department,
Yeah.
HR.
financial department. I don't want to be that one.
Yeah,
No.
right.
I know I don't want to either anymore.
Operations, none of that stuff. Nope.
All right, Meg. So we have some questions for you.
I know I printed them out. My squirrels printed them out. I read
Did
them.
you?
I know.
Oh yeah. All right.
Well, sometimes I don't even print them out and read them because I'm really good, like on my feet and on my toes. And some people don't even send me questions. So I did
Really? Oh man, my ADHD brain cannot handle that.
So I see I'm a competitive person, so I see it as a challenge. I'm like, give me one, see if I can get it.
All right.
And I'm okay if I'm like, wow, I do not know the answer to that. I
Yeah.
also am okay with that. So you have
Which
to
we have to be.
the second one if you're going to do it.
Okay. So the first one I want to talk to you about, you have a post that says a paycheck for an adult is not the same as an external reward system for children. Exclamation point.
Yeah.
Power and control separate the two. Can you elaborate on how power and control influence reward systems?
So this makes me so bonkers, this comparison, because it's not true for like a gabillion reasons, but also because that is what a lot of behavior people, a lot of people in the ABA community, a lot of people in the old school, traditional, archaic behavior community always say. Is you would do that for a paycheck. You get a paycheck, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not the same. That's not the same because a 5-year-old on a reward system doesn't have any power and control if they're on it or not.
Mm-hmm.
They're starting with a 5-year-old brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you girls didn't like your jobs, if we're all the founders of our own companies and we're like, you know what, peace out. We have the ability and the power and the control to say, I'm going to go back to work somewhere else. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to make changes so I'm happier. What does a 5-year-old get to do? They don't get to leave the school because they're in public school. They're going every day. They're going 5 days a week. They are on that sticker chart regardless. They are working with a 5-year-old brain, right? The adolescent brain isn't into your third decade of life. So like you need a kid to self-regulate, have self-discipline, regulate their emotions and their thoughts and their feelings, or they don't get a sticker. So when I hear paycheck, I'm always like, oh, it's not the same for me ever. Because power and control separated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes me so bonkers. Like
Yeah,
when I have a knee-jerk reaction to that comparison, because I think the people who say that are taught that in school.
Mm.
like taught when they're children, or they're taught in their education programs.
Taught in their education programs. I was taught in
Mm.
my education program to use sticker charts and stickers, tickets, tokens, points, clips, and candy. I was taught all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. And I don't want
Yeah.
anybody to put me on that. Right? I have my own struggles. I don't want anybody finding out my struggles and then putting me on a sticker chart.
Right. I mean, I really wish that some admin, well, maybe not admin, but the people who lead PDs busted out a sticker chart,
Oh,
because
can
that
you
would be
imagine?
perfect. Like, people would be so irritated. Or like removing like clip charts, like clipping down because, this teacher was on our phone, or this teacher's not
I do it
talking
in
enough.
I lead professional development for teachers, and I do it as a joke. Like I have a clip chart,
Mhm.
and I say when you come in here, you sign in because you have to. You're gonna grab a certificate. Now you can't leave till the end, right? Because you're now stuck there because you got that certificate, and you're gonna grab the handout. And then I say, come on over here and grab a clothespin and put your name on it and just stick it right here on the desk. I said, all of you would do that because I look like a friendly human being. I'm wearing sparkles and bell-bottom pants, and I look like I'd be fun. And then so you just do what I tell you to do, right?
Yeah.
And then I pull out this clip chart and I bust it out and I tape it on my whiteboard easel. I rock it like 1985. Like I have a whiteboard easel with markers. And I was like, so now I'm going to put you all on ready to learn. And if your phone goes off, if you go to the bathroom during a learning opportunity, if you talk to your neighbor, if you cause too much ruckus, if you write all the things that you get you clipped down, I was like, I'm going to clip you down. And they look at me like this.
Yeah.
And I said, how many people want to play? And of the thousands of teachers I've asked, I've probably had between 7 and 10 say they'd play. But this is how they say it. Oh, I'll play.
Yeah.
Meaning that's exactly the kids you're making it for.
Yep.
And they are going to take every opportunity to get all the attention and get clipped down and make it hard for you because they don't care, right?
Yeah.
But 10 out of thousands, and 10's a higher number, 10 out of thousands would do it. I was like, then why do we do it with kids? It's always public. I always say every public behavior strategy ends in shame, guilt, and embarrassment. You can't not make it that way.
Right.
It's just not, it's not possible.
It's
to
public.
have them be loving and kind and compassionate and empathetic and public.
Yeah. I'm just gonna do one thing real quick. I'm going to even us out. Okay. That was bothering me. All right. So yes, now we can see each other a little bit more. Okay. So now let's move. I'm gonna actually move to the fourth question the third question. And that is, so what should teachers be doing? They've got 30 kids in their classroom. Maybe they have 3 with severe behaviors. They don't have any time. They're on their, last straw. The clip chart's easy. The sticker chart's easy.
Yeah.
Whether it works or not.
And it feels like control.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what should they do?
So I get so people ask me this all the time. They say, what should I do instead? If I'm not supposed to do stickers, tickets, tokens, points, clips, and candy, what do I do instead? And I said, well, actually, that's the wrong question. Because if you ask me that question as the behavior girl, you want me to answer with another Pinterest strategy. You want 1 or 2 sentences. You want to have another fun, fast, and easy strategy that you can go into your art closet and laminate and sparklify and put on the wall. I didn't go to Pinterest and pick the one strategy that works, and then I like coveted it and then told Pinterest to take it down so I could make money off it, right? That's not what I did. So it's not what do I do instead? It's what new information do I need so I know what to do instead. It's always new information, but then you get this. I don't have the money for it. I get it. My masterclass is 9 hours and it's $99. Like, I made it as short as I could and as inexpensive as I could, right?
Mhm.
Do you know if you went in another field and took a 9-hour class, how much that would be? So like in the business world, it's like $2,500 or something, right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. I don't have time for that. I know. Again, who's in charge of PD? We need to be doing this stuff in PD. And the thing is it right? You said like, what's a teacher to do with 30 kids and 3 of them have IEPs and 2 don't have IEPs, but they're challenging. And 1 kid feels like 7 kids. So really you have 72 kids.
Mhm.
And I always say, who's in your classroom to help you? If you have nobody, I don't know how to help that, but that's the number one thing we have to change.
Mhm.
Is there's nobody to help you with 30 something kids that feel like 72, or you have a para who doesn't have the information.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, right, the first place you have to start is self-reflection. Who are you? What's your temperament? What information do you know? What information are you going to get? What are your hot buttons? What kids drive you bonkers? How do you, when you have nothing left, you're depleted, you're exhausted, as many teachers are. How do you deal with that? Those hot buttons of whining, I was a kindergarten teacher for 10 years and whining was my thing. You could ask me anything. And if you did it in a regular voice, I would help you with almost anything. Wine, it's an automatic no. My lava will come out my ears, sparkles will come out of my head. I can't do it. And then figuring out who the kids are by temperament.
Mhm.
And then, right, it's this tiered system. And none of it is, so before this tiered system, it's 13 to 24% of the kids are diagnosed with something. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of help. That's a lot of sticker charts. And then if you do the whole tiered system in my masterclass, by the time you get to support plans, meaning, hey, I need to pull in an OT, a PT, a school psychologist, a school counselor, all these other people, it goes from 18 to 24% to 1 to 2%.
Mhm.
So then you don't have that many kids in your class having these problems, because sometimes it's not that we need to do an evaluation,
Right.
but the sticker chart doesn't work, or I have, how many, you girls probably, how many do you even know? I probably know thousands. I call them behavior games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
bunch.
Like
It's
so many. And people say, what about this one? I said, I've never heard of that one. I can almost guarantee you it's a no from me. Because is it red, yellow, and green? If it is, it's a no from me, because they're all those stupid colors. Do you get a thing? Is there a prize? And is it like a curriculum that someone's trying to sell? Because if it's a curriculum somebody's trying to sell, it's a no for me. Almost, I can't think of one that I would say yes to. Do you think of one that you girls would say yes to?
What do you mean by like a curriculum that someone would sell?
Champs is one.
Oh.
CHAMPS.
Mhm.
The house. Ron Clark's house
Oh,
system
yeah.
that looks like
Mhm.
Harry Potter. Has nobody
Yep.
watched Harry Potter? That does not end well. They hate each other.
I think I saw your post about that, and that was just after I listened to Truth for Teachers, which is a podcast, and they she had on a bunch of admin, and one admin was working at the Ron Clark School. And I was listening to it and I'm like, that's adorable. Like, I love that so much. And then I see Meg's post and I'm like, damn, she's right.
Man.
No, you're right. Like, they hated each other. Like,
So if you have that reaction, it's adorable. That's the cutest. Aww. It's not
Probably a no. So I have a question for you, Meg,
Yeah.
because like my classroom management system has like lessons built into it, but I wouldn't call it a curriculum. What it is like the end goal is that you don't need it. Like you work your way through needing it, but basically, like to sum it up in like 30 seconds, it is like tracking how well you are helping kids meet the expectations until they become a habit and you don't do it anymore.
Do the kids have a say in whether they make this, whether they're doing it or not?
Do they have a say in whether they meet the expectations?
Yeah.
They have a say. They could if you want to change it like that. They have a say in how well I meet the expectations, though. I guess the teacher.
Oh, yeah. So, and any behavior, anything needs to be. So when people say, "Well, I'm doing a sticker chart," how do I? If to just get rid of it is tricky because
Mhm.
everybody's like, "Well," right, and then everybody thinks there's nothing, there's no consequence, which is not true. But that's what they think happens.
Yeah.
So I said the way to change it is the kids get to choose if they are meeting the expectations or not.
Yeah, so like that's what the kids do at the end. Like they self-evaluate and they're like, we did this. And it's also all about like owning things too. So
Yeah, right.
like if you did not enter the classroom the way that we typically do, then go back and retry. It's not a big deal. And then
You're also on middle school kids too, right? That
Mhm.
they kind of get it, right?
Yeah, they're a bit older. And then it moves up to cooperation. So like
Mm.
teaching kids how to advocate. So like for example, last week or 2 weeks ago, I taught my kids how to not do my work. And instead of being like, this is too hard, like it's too much, like I can't do it,
Mhm.
being like, hey, I feel overwhelmed by this. I'm gonna get this done and I can get this to you on by Wednesday, but I do need an extension.
That's
And like
great.
teaching them how to communicate that.
Right.
And it goes both ways too throughout the entire thing. So it's like you develop these skills together and learn and grow, and then we kind of just have those skills.
Yeah, so it's not a game at all. I'm just turning on my
No.
light. Hold on one sec. Otherwise, yeah, I was going to be like in midnight over here. Yeah, it doesn't sound like a game because nobody gets
No.
that.
No.
So it's not a curriculum because you're not trying. So the
No, I would just
curriculum-
call it that because like there's some lessons in there about like intrinsic motivation.
Well, yeah. So any other behavior games are extrinsically motivating.
Yeah.
The opposite of what. And while we're working on extrinsic motivation, right, we're depleting internal motivation.
Mhm.
People don't get that those are not. You can't do external motivation and fade it out, and then internal, and then bring in internal motivation. That's not the way
Mhm.
human brains work. But people, I don't know. Like I read books and articles, and I'm not the only one who has the books and articles, so I'm not sure.
They're not talked about because that's what Brittany and I are reading all about right now. We're doing our whole book club on Punished by Rewards.
No, I
And
love that book.
so we've seen it, the research about how the more rewards you give to someone, the more you weaken them wanting to do that for themselves.
Yes, and so everybody says, "Well, then you're going to fade it out." Well, you've ruined it. By the time you're at fade out,
Yeah, and you can't.
you
like
can't.
it's going to destroy it.
Well, think about, okay, so every Monday you go to work and you get something, you get a prize. And then now they're like, "Oh, she comes to work every Monday." Great. So they take the prize away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You internally
exactly.
motivated to go, you were like, "No, I was going because I was getting that prize."
Right.
And my follow-up question for you now, Meg, is
Yeah.
so imagine you have kids like this going through elementary school for 5 years.
Mhm.
They get all these prizes for behaving, and then they get to middle school and those things don't exist.
I
Do
know.
you feel like they start off like on level 0 again? Or are they like down 30 floors because they're so used to having all of this extrinsic stuff?
They don't understand even what to do.
Mm-hmm.
So they are like they didn't know the floor was gonna drop out from under them in middle school, and they don't understand why it's not happening. Right? I always say at PBIS, if it's a game, you rarely play a game you don't want to play, right? In life,
Mhm.
like I was on a soccer team because I like soccer. I ran track because I was on the track team, but I like chose to do all that.
Yeah.
So unless an adult says, "Hey, you know what? Elementary school, we did this because it was building habits," or explained at least why you did it in elementary school and why you're not doing it in middle school. Nobody explains that to kids. They
No.
just pull the rug out from under them. Then they don't know, like, so I behave and nothing happens. Well, if you've had 5 years of that, that's like ingrained in you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now how do I just be? And then they get things like, right, I'm in a middle high school, in a few middle high schools, and there's just in school suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Punitive.
Yeah, now it's
Yeah.
punitive.
Mhm.
And they don't know. They were like, oh, before it was just like I didn't get a sticker, it wasn't a big deal, or maybe it was a huge deal. I see it being a huge deal. There's so much anxiety.
Yeah.
These kids and these systems, it makes me crazy. So I think it's, if you are a middle school teacher and you don't do any of these things, you have to have a discussion like day one with the kids. Is like, we don't have these things here. We don't do
Mhm.
that when you're older because we feel like you should have formed a habit. What habits did you guys form? It's got to be a
Mhm.
whole conversation, and nobody has it.
You're absolutely right.
And they're so confused.
Well, then we should also be having that conversation in elementary school. Like, why are we doing this? What habits are we supposed to be forming?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let kids, right, I have a 10-step, it's kind of like like AA, like a 10-step how to
Yeah.
get out of PBIS. And you really have to relinquish a lot of the power and control to the kids of saying like, hey, right, a lot of teachers have to do these things because it's mandatory. And I said, well, yeah, you have to do them as the teacher. The kids don't have to do them.
Mhm.
Kids aren't getting paid. They don't get a paycheck, right, for this. So we have to ask them if they want to play. And then some kids will say, yeah, I want to play because I want the prize. They say, okay, but sometimes, right now you have to explain now, sometimes you're not going to get the prize because what happens if you woke up and you didn't eat breakfast and mom was kind of grumpy and you have these itchy clothes on and you didn't get some of your first hour needs met and you got here and the classroom smells like farts. I had a kid tell me that yesterday. My classroom smells like farts.
I
So
like him.
now you have to like, you're just in a rotten place. Adults would say you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and now like today you're probably not going to get the sticker. You still want to play the game? Because if you're playing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say like, just get what are the prizes? Just get those.
And it's the entirely wrong game too. Like
It
that's
is.
what I just keep coming back to. Like I always call that with my kids even too. Like if they're doing something, I'm like, that's the wrong game to play. You know,
Yeah.
like we're not trying to play the game of like you're distracted on the computer and then I come get you and like tell you to get off of your game site. We're playing the game if you're trying to get your education today, and I'm trying to help you get your education today. And we're
Right.
trying to create something cool.
Mhm.
Like we're on different fields.
And they're only playing that game so they could get the prize at the end
Yeah.
instead of doing what, right? A lot of kids just, I had a kid that said middle school and he said, well, I'm only going to do it if there's a prize involved. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it's like, why? He's like, because she gives prizes. I was like, well, if she didn't give, well, she's the only one in the school that does. The other teachers don't. Do you do your work there? She's like, yeah. I said, oh, again, there's that external motivation in that class. He still has it for the other classes, the internal motivation.
It's so interesting.
I mean, and everybody's brain works like this.
Yeah.
We're
there are
programmed.
So there are kids that, excuse me, have increased anxiety and depression and perfectionism. There are kids that have lower self-esteem, lower, they feel bad about themselves. There are kids that don't care. They could give two poops whether they get a sticker or and there are some kids that's all they can focus on. They can't now also do academics Every
Yeah.
kid there's like 1,000 reasons they don't work.
And
even
it's so
if-
much too for the teachers, like trying to do all of that
yeah,
stuff.
and you know what?
It's
The teachers
exhausting.
don't like it. The teachers don't like to keep track of it all.
Yeah.
On top of everything else you have to do now, you have to
Mhm.
like know who gets what sticker and what prize, and just you know what, just have the fun things. Just have fun Friday because it's fun. Just do the fun stuff. Just
Yeah.
have prizes and stickers. You know what? I have a sticker subscription because I love stickers. And I don't ever use them for charts. I just
Yeah.
love all they're over there. They're all the look at this one. I mean, this is like it came in. Look at stop it. See, it's
Oh
a
my gosh.
it's a unicorn
That's adorable. It's got a
with
sticker
earmuffs.
on.
And I'm never going to stick it anywhere because I love it so much. But stickers make me happy, but they don't have to be on a chart.
Yeah.
But it's just we were so conditioned, right? It's the trickle down effect from ABA. PBIS is just the trickle down effect from ABA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we once knew about human behavior is no longer true. So, but again, I don't know in behavior. Nobody read the books, or I'm not really sure what happened.
I feel like education tends to run like 10 to 15 years behind that
Which doesn't make any sense.
research that's coming like
In
yeah.
some stuff, though, I feel like we only do it in things that we feel like it benefits us. And I feel like PBIS gives adults a feeling of so much control and power.
Mhm.
And systems like that, you know, gives us like this idea of power over other people. And so we stick with that. Because if you look at the academic research, like schools are trying to stay up to date on all of that stuff. Think about the science of reading
Yeah.
and the earthquake that's been in education the past couple of years. But when it comes to tearing down PBIS or systems like that, that's tearing down like our control. So people are like, ooh, like I can teach kids how to read phonetically, but take away my sticker charts, take away my control or my power, or my authority. That
Mhm.
sounds scary for a lot of teachers, I
And
think.
they don't know what else to do, right?
Yeah.
They don't know what new information they need so they can do something different. So
Mhm.
they just think it's either sticker chart or they get no consequences. I was like, why are those the only two choices? Those are so far apart from
Yes,
each other.
that was exactly what we
The
were talking
false
about last
dichotomy.
night.
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
false
like what?
dichotomy.
Ugh, makes me
Mhm.
crazy.
Okay, so let's segue because this is a perfect segue.
Oh yeah.
How have you seen schools successfully move away from PBIS? And what did they seem to struggle with most?
So to successfully move away from it, the top administration has to realize it's a bunch of baloney. So I've read PBIS articles, and you know what's interesting is I think the premise of PBIS of like what it teaches is great, and in the research they don't mention anything about any of the like games, the behavior games. And I'm like, so I don't know if those are I still haven't figured it out. It's really hard to find PBIS research that doesn't involve jargon.
Mm.
Because I read it and I'm like, I'm in the field and I do not know what this says. I don't actually know if this is positive or negative. It's very confusing. And I consider myself academic. I read a lot of this stuff. So the person at the top has to say, we're not doing that.
Mhm.
And we are taking it away. And then they have to have the conversations we talked about. You have to say, this is almost something that will work with kids, with adults. The principal has to go when they take away PBIS or move away from it and say, you know what? I bought into that fun, fast, and easy behavior game stuff. And it didn't work. And you guys are all frustrated. And I probably made a lot of enemies. We're gonna really do something different now. The principal has to say that. Of some sort of that conversation. So teachers are like, yeah. Otherwise, it's just the principal making another decision that the teachers weren't in on that, and they're afraid it's going to be another behavior game. It's another, now it's not the Ron Clark shield system. It's champs or it's something else, right?
Mhm.
And then we have to get the teachers the new information. And there's plenty of schools, like, right? Someone has to find a school or find people to come in and help. You need people to help. You need people to consult with you. You need schools to, right, be a magnet school for you. So like you're trying what they're trying, and you have to have people help you. You can't just wing it.
Right.
right? And what was your other question? How they move successfully away from it? What was the second part?
What do they struggle with?
Oh, they probably struggle with not using another Pinterest strategy. They get rid of one and they're not, until you are well versed in human behavior and in what we need to do instead. They're going to keep trying to do different versions of the same thing. And you're going to have teachers that find it successful and dig their heels in. So right, you kind of have to make it mandatory that you can't do it. But I don't, right, because I think there are some teachers, and I get them, I'm sure you do too, Brittany, come into your DMs and you too, that say like, it works. I don't know what you're talking about. You're crazy. And I'm like, whew, okay. And they're so like rigid. And I was like, you know what? We're probably not friends. You could just, you could just scroll by. If you don't believe, and I don't want to say, but I'm right and you're wrong. Because it's not right to say, but I am right and they're wrong. So like,
yeah, no, I usually say like, thanks for contributing to the conversation.
I appreciate.
I don't know how you found this. I don't know like what.
Yeah. Was I on a sponsor post and you like my sparkle dress, so you thought you'd turn up your volume and listen to me? I'm not sure.
Just
because
turn the volume now.
Or my favorite. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, if you've seen anything I've done, I'm really loud about any of that stuff. So don't try to. You're never gonna talk me into it.
Right.
Okay, how many DMs you do? How many? Yeah, I'm just not gonna. Because if I, float my own boat for a second, I guess, but like with my charisma and enthusiasm and my knowledge around behavior, if I was to choose PBIS, I could make millions of dollars. If I was to choose the other way, because I'd probably rock the other way. If I could just get myself to believe it, I could probably be really good at being like, hey, use the sticker chart. And I could put on the like beautiful outfits and do all the things and pretend to put on my makeup. I have no makeup on. Oh, like all the things. That's a new thing now. Everybody know that? Like the like
talking.
I'm gonna tell you about behavior strategies while I put on makeup.
People love the transformation.
Yeah, I showered for you girls. I did not put on any makeup. I put on earrings. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, oh man, I was gonna say something at a really good point, and I lost it.
No, darn squirrel.
Yep, it was squirreled. Man,
it'll come back. It'll come back.
It will, and I'll be like,
he'll come back in the front, right here, and you'll be like, oh, I know it.
Yeah, and that's when I usually like rudely interrupt the person, but like I'm like I gotta it's gotta come out, or I'm gonna lose it again. Okay, so.
So if anything to do with me being real, I'd be really good at the like behavior sticker chart thing.
Well, yeah, it was that like selling it. Oh, I got it.
Yes.
You can't convince us because we truly understand behavior and the motivations and the needs.
Yeah.
And when you understand all of that, it's obvious that reward systems aren't going to work because they're not meeting any needs. They're not improving motivation.
That's why I'm so loud about it, because I was like, how do you guys not see it?
Right.
But they don't know what they don't know, right? They don't have the information I have.
Yeah.
But they can get it because I was trained that way too. I had a red, yellow, and green stoplight in my classroom with the clips, and it was probably 4 feet big on my wall when I taught kindergarten. I did it. And I realized, I was like, oh, this isn't really working. The one kid I did it for did not care if he was on red. He was from the South. He called me a big head. You big head. And we tried not to laugh at him. But I've done them. And that ruined my relationship with that little boy. That that stoplight system.
And then they get it for years as they go up through the grades too. And then you get kids who are older and they've experienced this for so many years, and no wonder they're jaded and bitter against school.
Mm-hmm.
And hate all adults. Like, it's really hard to trust any adult
Yeah.
Yeah.
when all the adults have made you play a game you had no choice in playing.
And then add the subjectivity. Like
Yeah.
everybody has their own definition of respect. So you get
Yeah.
clipped down for something with this teacher that you wouldn't get clipped down for on another teacher. And then that throws predictability and stability completely out the window.
Neurodivergent kids cannot figure that out.
Right. Right.
I mean, a lot of kids can't figure it out, but neurodivergent kids especially are like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
what? Or even the same teacher. Because, like, I woke
Mm.
up, it's Friday, I'm psyched, I'm going away for the weekend. This is what I'm getting 2 iced coffees today. This is a day. And then it's Monday. I had a crappy weekend. I fought with my husband on the way out the door.
Yeah.
Like, I'm clipping up and down differently
Mm-hmm.
accordingly to, right?
Yeah.
You can't figure that out.
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah. And I also think it's important to be communicative too if you feel like your bandwidth is stretched
Mm.
as
Yes.
well. And being like, hey, like today's a stressful day for me. I'm sorry in advance. I'm still going to treat you respectfully, but just so you know, like this is where I am realistically.
But it's hard to have that conversation and for kids to believe in you if you also have a clip chart. It's easier
True that.
if I don't have one of those and you see me as a human, not as a dictator,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
as someone who's fully in charge of
How you
clip
think.
charts. Don't you love the clip
Feel.
charts where you get a number and you don't have your name? Like, we're not going to put Ashlyn's name. We're not going to put Brittany's name. Brittany, you're 12 and Ashlyn's 11 and I'm 14. And they think the kids don't know
Right.
the numbers. It's like,
Then you become the number. Like,
and the kid, number 9 always gets clipped down.
yeah.
The kids are really trying to figure out who number 9 is.
Right. Right. Oh, and they're all telling each other their numbers.
It's also
That's
just
guaranteed.
so much energy too, you know, like if you're going to clip somebody down, like, I don't know, let's say a behavior that you might clip somebody down for, someone's like yelling out. It takes like, how much energy is it to be like, I'm clipping you down, number 9, or to be like, hey, number 9, or not number 9. Hey, Meg, you all set? Do you need something?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
You
it's
gotta
still
put
energy.
in- You have to put in the time either way. It's either proactive or reactive.
Exactly.
And if you're reactive, it's usually longer. Because
Mhm.
you're going to clip me down. You're going to be, now I'm mad at you, so I'm going to act out in different ways. Or I'm going to do something that, right,
Yeah.
is
I'm gonna
allowed
make.
or inappropriate. Or
Mhm.
get
I'm gonna
other
give you
kids
a
to
reason
Yeah.
to clip me
I'll
down.
show you.
Yeah. I was that kid. Like, I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
you have to get up and go clip down yourself. And then do the walk of shame. Like, not the fun one that you do in college, but the like walk of shame. that all the kids are like, right, Meg, come clip down. I have to stand up and walk in front of everybody. And I'm star of the show. I have a star of the show temperament, so I like walking in front of people.
Mhm.
I don't want to do it, but because I have that temperament, you are dead to me.
Yeah.
You embarrass me like that in front of others? Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what you would have to do for me to forgive you. You would probably have to say, I royally messed up.
Mhm.
And I can't believe I did that to you, and I'm so sorry. But if you have a
Mhm.
clip chart, you're just going to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I am going to talk out loud.
Mhm.
Oh, do you like the strategy of blurt beans and blurt bucks? That's one where you get coffee beans or bucks, and you have to have 3 at the end of the day or something to get a prize, but you only start with 5. I was like, I can only talk out of turn twice?
Oh.
That-
I've never heard of this.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
yes,
heard
I'm
of
gonna
those
be-
ones.
I'm going to be out of my 5 in about 7 minutes. I probably.
Right.
That's what I would get in trouble for. Oh, yeah. And you get beans. So they're like coffee beans. And you get them on your desk, and the teacher will come and take them off your desk.
That's interesting. I've been reading a lot about neurodivergency and different techniques to use in the classroom. And
Mm.
it's really interesting how each everything I read is constantly talking about allowing the kids to just talk freely. And
Yeah.
who does it really bother? Like, it typically just bothers the teacher.
Typically does. Yep.
Um, and so now I let the kids, like, I used to make them walk in at level 0 voice.
Mhm.
I don't do that anymore. The kids are perfectly fine. They don't go run around my room doing cartwheels. Like,
Mhm.
it's not like they completely, because they can talk while they're walking into my classroom, they completely lose their minds. But the other teachers that are coming with them, because I teach art, right? So their
Right.
other teachers are, their teacher is coming with them, and they typically get really uncomfortable with the fact that the kids can walk into my room.
And as somebody who used to be such a dictator in the classroom and just want all of that control, I feel like it would make me nervous thinking about not having it.
Mm.
Because like a
Yeah,
kid
yeah,
walking in like that, it's like, oh no, I'm not controlling that.
Yeah.
And then I would feel insecure.
But
No,
imagine all three of us walking
Mm.
into like a teacher workshop where we're not the leaders and we're like in charge of sitting and learning, and
Mhm.
we had to come in with a level 0 voice.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
really? Like, I have to talk to you about where we're sitting, and I probably know, Brittany, I could not sit next to you because I would talk out loud and
Mhm.
probably
Yeah.
look rude. Right. So I like would be like, okay, I love you. See you at the end or in the halftime or at intermission
Right.
or whatever. But we would come in and talk about like, how's your ride here? Did you get your coffee? I mean, we would talk on the way in. And
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
and that's the same as like kids in the hallway.
Mhm.
Not being able to talk. Oh, I got a kid in such big trouble one time. I was gonna play him in Foursquare. We were both pretty competitive, and I was like, "Oh, you're going down in Foursquare." And I said it in that voice. You're going down in Foursquare. He goes, "No, you're going down in Foursquare." The teacher screamed at him for talking in the hallway, and I was like, "What? What?"
What?
And it was my fault because I started.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But we did it quietly. And when we got out on the playground, I found him and I was like, wow, buddy, I am so sorry that I got you in trouble. And he was, and it didn't matter how many times I apologized. He was mad at me for a good 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
Because he was in such big trouble with that too. That teacher, you know, some people, everybody's good at something.
Mhm.
And some people teach. And you're like, wow, you're good at other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was one.
You're good at other things.
You're good. Well, I mean, I think all humans are good at something. I
Mhm.
know, like when I taught kindergarten in a childcare setting. So a lot of people find infant, toddler, preschool, kindergarten teacher like because they like kids, but they don't really understand how hard it can be. And they find themselves in that profession like on accident and maybe aren't as good at it as they thought they were or wanted to
Mhm.
be. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. I just want to play with kids all day, which is the way that they learn, but then they don't know what to do with all the other pieces to it.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like in the older grades of middle school, people like stay away. They keep like a distance. Anytime I tell people I teach middle school, they say, God bless you.
Yeah, I would not be a middle school teacher. I like the little ones. I teach all kids, but like individually. Right? When I'm in a
Yeah.
middle high school, they come out of their class and I meet with them and then they go
Mhm.
back to their class.
Yeah. I know a lot of people that fear middle school. Like, they don't fear high school as much,
Mhm.
but people fear middle schoolers.
They really do. There's a lot of hormones and stuff going on.
Yeah, those kids crack me. I love middle
They
school.
are the best. Just watching them do life, it is
Yeah,
the best thing
like,
ever. They brighten my
they're
day
like
every single day.
really big children. Like, they're really big little kids.
Yes, that's true.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
they're just so clumsy and awkward and oh, they're hilarious. Anyway, okay, so I have to get going in like 10 minutes because I have to pick up my daughter. So, we covered what needs. Oh, okay. So masking and needs. Let's talk about needs first.
Got it.
What needs do you often see being compromised in the classroom that lead to big behaviors?
So when I read that, my first one was movement. That you have to sit still and pay attention, and that's not physiologically possible for
Mhm.
kids, right? to not be able to move, right? The more you move, the more you learn. They are connected in your brain. They're in the same spot in your brain. So you have to like, so to do one means you get to do the other. Another need is power and control, that they don't have that ability to say, hey, this isn't working for me. I'd like something else, right? Self-advocating. If you can advocate in your classroom, then you do have some power and control. I always think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? The physiological piece, then the safety piece. Safety needs are compromised. I wouldn't necessarily say physical, although in some places you're still allowed to paddle and spank kids in school. That's awful and terrible. In like the United States, like in Missouri and Texas, you can't hit the kids, but you could call the parents to come in and hit the kids. I think emotional safety is right. Embarrassing kids, not understanding neuroaffirming information. So sometimes you're doing it just because you don't know what you don't know. And then love and relationships, right? That's a need of like, hey, even though I'm the leader of this classroom as a teacher, I still want you to know that I got your back, that I hear you, that you could tell me things that so I can help, right? And that every kid needs to feel loved. And I think the kids that are really tricky, and I get a lot of the tricky ones, I say that like this because they're not usually tricky for me. They don't feel loved, right? So I would say if you go around the school and you are asking the kids, like Brittany, write your 3 favorite teachers down in the school. Ashlyn, write your 3 favorite teachers down in the school. And I write my 3 favorite teachers, and then and there are teachers that don't make it on any kid's 3 favorite. I was wondering, I was like, they need some support, those teachers. If they don't make it on any kid's favorite, right? So the needs for kids to have teachers that understand them. It's pretty tricky. And their need to feel intelligent and smart in something. You can't be good at everything, but what are you good at? And is there a class or is there a way you can show it? Right? Because I wasn't good at math or science. Chemistry, no idea. Cheated off the kid that wanted to be my lab partner that thought I was pretty, and I was his lab partner and cheated off his paper. Geometry, the teacher left his answers on the corner of his desk, and I memorized them and then made the work look like I knew what I was doing to get the answer.
That sounds like more work than actually learning geometry. Like that would have taken me forever.
I couldn't figure out geometry. He was like, you were having a hard time at the beginning of this year, but you really turned it around. I was like, yeah, keep your paper on the end of your desk. I'd go up there and be like, DCBAC, DCBAC. And I'd go down, sit down, and I'd like get it to work out. Yeah. But I wasn't good at those things. I don't have to do chemistry and geometry now. I found behavior is a math and science field. Those are my worst subjects. I flipped it into a relationship field, which I think it should be anyway.
Yeah.
Right. But that's not the field circle it's in, I guess.
Which is interesting because I think it is starting to move into that. With the more theories that are coming out, like you have like relational motivation theory, and I know that I think there's a part of behaviorism that is relational. It's like a relational framework theory where kids learn. The theory is based on that the kids learn behaviors through having relationships. It's almost like constructivism. But it's relationship based. Me and my so we have a district behavior specialist, right? his name's Ben. I wonder if he'll watch this. But him and I we'll have 15, 20-minute conversations when he's comes to my school, because we both like the same stuff, right? Like behavior and psychology, and he is really big into RFT. And I'm like, but Ben, it's a part of ABA. Like how? And so we just go back and forth. But I do think the more that the research the more research that's coming out that is heavily influenced by relationships and shows how relationships can impact behavior, I think we're heading towards that direction, which
I hope so.
Yeah, knowing education, we probably won't see it for another 30 years, but
right, we will be retired by the time that happens.
Yeah. And we'll be like, I told you so.
Lady fingers.
Yeah. Okay, last one. How can teachers help students reduce the need to mask?
I feel like I've answered this same answer every time, but it's so, because relationship based, is you have to have the conversation. I just did write a reel on this, and then I went on my YouTube channel, a live stream, to be like, if you think a kid is doing fine, but they're on an IEP, that they have a neurodivergent brain, if you think they're doing fine, they're probably not. They're faking it, right? And so we have to make sure that we are asking them questions. A kid who has a hood on, a kid who does this, a kid who's under the desk, a kid who looks like a deer in headlight, a kid that you can I'm sure you two have seen kids that ooze anxiety.
Yeah.
Right? They're not fine. And all we have to say is, hey, bud, I'm here and I can help. I'm not even sure what I could help with. Not even sure what things maybe you're thinking about, but I'd like to help. Oh, someone said, what if they are doing fine? How will you tell? They'll have their own friend group. They'll be doing academically well. They'll
have a personality.
What?
Have a personality?
Yes. But I'm thinking of all the kids that I work with in homes that at school they mask all day, and that at home this little guy told me he's not little, he's 9, 10, and he said, oh, he doesn't like reading and math, no, writing and math, and he's like, I'll just lay on the floor. And his mom's like, you lay on the floor? And he's like, yeah. And he comes home and falls apart. Because his mom's like, why are you laying on the floor? It's like, because he can't do it anymore. So if you have a kid laying on the floor, it's probably having a hard time. And everybody's having a hard time. So even the kids who are doing fine still need you to have that conversation with them.
Yeah.
And we have to have the conversation with all the kids of everybody's brain works differently. I think in my YouTube live, I said, my live stream, I was like, how about, not that they have to share this, don't make a bulletin board, but have kids draw what their brain feels like or what their brain looks like. Because it would be wonderful if you could see it. You would never force them to show you. But if you have that activity, that could start a conversation. Anything that would start a conversation of maybe you're neurodivergent and you're like, you know what, guys, sometimes the classroom is so loud and I feel like I want to wear those headphones. So if anybody else feels that way, maybe we can think of some strategies together. Then it opens it up. You're not weird. I feel like that too. And you just sometimes have to, and then you have to wait for kids to feel brave enough to tell you.
Yeah.
But I think they're probably not doing fine.
And what about when you have, I'm thinking about the ABA community, and you have kids who are autistic, and you're battling the pressure of special ed and ABA saying one thing, and then you want to help the kids another way. How would you recommend teachers navigate that situation?
Well, that's really tricky. So when you mentioned Ben, Brittany, I was like, most behavior people in schools have ABA training. Almost like almost everyone I can think of. So you have to, I tell teachers, I say, okay, so say, I need help, but I need it not to be a behavior game or a sticker, ticket, token, point, or clip chart. I want it to be relational. I want it to play off the relationship I have. I want it to be an internal motivation strategy. What do you have for me? I would just nip it in the bud that I don't want any of the, right? And did I ever teach ABA? No. Am I a behaviorist? No. Am I autistic? No. Am I neurodivergent? I'm not even neurodivergent. So I'm not neurodivergent, although I do have drunk squirrels. But I need to go into the autistic community, and they like 97% don't like ABA. So I just assume that we should be teaching something other than that.
Yeah.
Not just that they don't like it, but that it's traumatic.
Oh, that they don't like it, and they're very vocal about it. And I know ABA is trying to change it, but I have a hard time because the science is so rigid and inflexible and specific that I don't know how much you can change it. Again, I don't know ABA. So I might get in trouble for that, but I'm not afraid to say things that might get me in trouble. Right? But I just, I would ask for something not... And I know when people tell me the information, oh, you should do this. Nope, that's ABA. That's the PBIS. I need something different.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe Ashlyn, they need your thing. They need, right? And I'm like, and I always say, like, start with my master class and then we'll go from there. And it doesn't have to be mine. You can read Punished by Rewards. You can spend $4 on eBay to get Punished by Rewards.
Come to our free book club every whatever day it is, Thursday.
And you know what? You only have to get to like the 3rd page of the foreword to be hooked on that book.
Yeah, it's really good.
You don't even have to get to chapter 1.
Right.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Like, how did I not know that? Like, how did I not notice?
Didn't you?
That was my
when you
thing.
started reading the foreword, you were like, yes. Oh my God. I was like cheering, and my husband was like, what are you doing? I'm like, reading Elfie Cohn.
Well, it's really interesting because I was so adamant that PBIS worked because I work in a behavioral school. It was chaos before we got our PBIS up and running. But the thing about that is, at the time that we got PBIS up and running, we also started being well-resourced, and we had more staff and we had more time, and we weren't, stripped to the bone every day. Like, it was a holistic change for our school. And then I saw your posts, and I'm like, well, she seems a little crazy, but I mean, there might be some things that, like, some merit to what she's saying. And then I started watching more and more, and I'm like, okay, I gotta see what is she talking about? So then I looked into Alfie Cohn and started watching, and I'm like, like, this does not work. Like, this is right. Like,
and even if it does work, at what cost?
Right.
And that's one of the whole chapters that we just did a podcast episode on.
Yeah. The cost is the kids are not mentally healthy.
Right. Relationships are sacrificed.
Yep. And you don't want to be the favorite teacher, and then you have to not give the sticker or not let them go to the assembly, or you're done. You are no longer the favorite teacher. You just ruined it. You can't then get back into all the way good graces, and you do that over and over and over again. It starts to chip away at that relationship.
Trust. And okay, so it's 5:35. I do have to sign off in a couple minutes, but I wanted to see if there were any questions, and I'm not live, so I can't see it. Does anyone have any questions in the comments?
Someone commented earlier, but I made a good point at some point, so that was good.
I don't see any of these comments that you're talking about, Meg.
No, the one that says, what if they are doing fine? How will you tell? And then it said, I agree. And then I said, I never thought about that good point. It's
I only see those ones in Restream, but I don't see anything in Instagram.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you the ones
Yeah.
that pop up on my screen. I have no idea about Instagram. Neither do you, Brittany. We're
Yeah.
in.
I don't even, and I don't, oh, I do. Okay. Oh, no, Aleph. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Meg. This was so much fun.
Where are you guys? Like in the world? Where do you-
Michigan.
Boston.
Where are you in Boston?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, for real life?
For real life. Yeah, where are you?
Hampton, New Hampshire?
Oh, well, we can have a meetup, Meg.
We get to be friends in real life?
We could.
That's not fair, guys.
Wait,
No.
where do you live?
I'm
Now,
Michigan.
Brittany, you got to come make an East
know.
Coast trip.
I
That's
know.
what this means.
Yeah, I love the East Coast. Meg, I thought you were in California for some reason.
No. Nope. I'm an East Coast girl.
New
Yeah.
Hampshire, live free or
I gotta hit
die.
that rhythm. Yeah. Ashley
should-
and I are neighbors.
We should all get together and
Meg,
do like
okay.
do like an episode where we're all like in Ash's living room.
Come on,
And
come
can
on.
And can
I
we
got a
wear
ring
outfits?
light.
Oh my gosh, that would be. We might break the internet if that happened.
I know.
Let's do it. Let's break
Yeah.
the internet.
Let's do it. I mean, it should kind of be broken.
That's true.
I mean, it's broken every Thursday at 5 for us.
Oh yeah. hey.
Like,
How many people come to your Alfie Cone book club?
I don't know how many people come live because we don't really look at that. We just talk
Yeah.
here and then look at the comments
Yeah.
at the end. But we have like over 180 people who have joined the channel.
yeah.
I did my live stream. I'm trying to dive back into my YouTube, and I did my live stream, and I talked to myself for the whole half hour because no one was there, and I was like, all right, I won't always have to talk to myself. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. It can be like, I like the fact that it's like with Restream, I really don't see who's live
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I'm just like, well, I'm just talking to myself.
Yeah. Just
But-
chilling.
But so many people will watch the replay.
Mhm.
So like a
And
couple
I
of
always tell
replays.
people, if you watch the replay, I would do it here too, that I know teachers are always looking for professional development. And
Mhm.
what we talked about tonight is way better than most of the professional development
Yeah.
that they get.
Mhm.
And I'm allowed to give certificates because I have like the special letters after my name to do that. So if you watch this hour, you would just have to find me on Instagram, Meg Thompson Behavior, and DM me, and you would get an hour's worth of professional development.
That's
do-
really cool. I wonder. I feel like we should do that for our book club, Brittany.
Yeah.
How do you get those letters after your name? Do you mean like
Right.
your degrees or something else?
No, so it's in New Hampshire because I'm a workshop trainer.
Okay.
Huh. I want those letters.
So
Me
I always
too.
offer it because if you're here and you're learning this new information, and it's as if we were leading a teacher group, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
wouldn't have said things differently in a teacher group.
No. Yeah.
Maybe we would have had the cardboard sign for the first 5 minutes, but
Nah, man. We got to stay true to ourselves.
that's true.
Like,
Yeah, cardboard sign was one of my favorite parts of this whole thing.
Yeah.
By the way,
Thank you. Thank you.
and then you're in Boston.
That too. I'm really excited, Meg. I'm going to be messaging you after this. Get
I
your
know.
DMs ready. Be ready for
Oh,
it.
Brittany, you have to come.
I'm so jealous. Yeah. No, I think I'm going to come and see Ash this summer. So we should totally meet up.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Let's go to the beach. You're always at the beach, Meg.
We could go to
Oh, my
Hampton
beach
Beach.
is right there. It's right on my.
Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
I live right on the ocean, so it's right across the street.
I love it.
We're going to go to Meg's house this summer.
Yeah.
Change of
Well, you know what?
plans.
In June, you probably won't be out of school, but I do a beach workshop. So I do a self-care workshop where people come to my house and they sit on the beach for 4 hours and do they have to watch a little bit of Alfie Kohn or read a book or do some professional development, but like at your own time on the beach. And it's really popular actually.
That's awesome.
That's
Because no one wants
awesome.
to do a self-care workshop 6 to 8 at night or on a
No.
Friday with everybody. Like that's not self-care.
Right. Right. Well, I have to go. I have to go grab my daughter. This was
Don't
so
be late. That would
awesome.
be terrible.
I know. Poor 2-year-old sitting at
Oh,
daycare.
geez, yeah.
Yeah. Like, where's my mommy?
She's 2.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna sign off. Meg, we will message you. And will you
Yeah.
send me the self-care thing because I want to promote that. That's awesome.
Yes, I will. I don't know when it is yet. June. It's
Oh.
like this. It's in June sometime.
Okay.
Yeah,
to make
same
sure that
here. I want to
there's
go
no
to that.
Yeah. Will I get out at I might even get out in May this year.
Oh,
So I'd be down to do that. Yeah.
imagine. That would be
Um,
dreamy.
Yeah. All right, ladies.
All right, sweet.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.